Today has been a pretty good day, my fantastic freelancer friends, but I'm about to make it even better. Thanks to the guys over at Anthem Archive, we have a slew of new armor, vinyls, and even masterwork support abilities coming to the game very soon. As always, a link to their website will be in the description below, and seriously, my hat's off to you guys, especially Giovanno. Thank you so much. I want to kick things off with the more physical and tangible stuff being the new support abilities. First up, we have the Storm's Howling Veil, which will replace the Wind Wall. Upon expiry, detonates additional explosions that hit targets in the front. So we have quite literally an explosive new support ability. I can see this coming in handy, especially in the Sunken Stronghold with those tunnels and you've got the enemies charging at you. Just set that up and bam, explosions right in front of the wind wall when it goes down. God, that sounds like such a cool ability. Next up we have Berserkers Cry, which is the Colossus's upgraded battle cry. When upon use, it additionally increases melee damage by 2% and reduces melee cooldowns. This one admittedly gives me a bit of a pause. I think melee damage deserves a little bit more of an increase than 2%. Maybe, I don't know, 30% of an increase? That sounds more reasonable for a masterwork ability. And it also reduces melee cooldowns, but I can't really see that coming in handy for the Interceptor, for example. They've already got pretty fast cooldowns. Maybe this means that the Interceptor can use its melee a bit quicker now? But that's only if there's a Colossus, and I can see this working pretty well, the second part of the ability at least, with a Flame Colossus or a Lightning Coil Colossus setting up and then smashing. Quite literally a Hulk smash ability. But those are the only two that we have right now. And as I'm making this video, there is even more data mining stuff coming in. Apparently, there is crafting for a sword and a mace, by the looks of it. Currently, there is no character that uses a sword, and the Ranger is really the only character that has a mace. As a matter of fact, it is the only character that has a mace for its melee. So, does this mean that we have swords and maces coming into the game? Melee weapons at long last? I know they were talking about it a lot in 2018, thinking it was a very cool idea, and I think melee combat would be pretty neat for at least the 3 on-the-ground classes, not so much the Storm. I can't really see the Storm having a melee weapon unless it's some kind of spear or spear that can shoot something. It's beyond me. But this is so unbelievably cool to see swords and maces possibly coming into the game. What do you all think of swords and maces and melee combat coming into the game? It'd be a fresh new thing, but I don't know how well that would work. If you all have any ideas, let me know in the comment section below. But on to the real meat and potatoes of this video. We'll first take a look at the vinyls because there are a lot of them. And these vinyls, as you will notice, are actually wraps. For those of you who don't know, the first wrap is actually in the store available right now. Not one of the ones that's on this list, but one of the ones that is available right now is a wrap. Wraps are basically huge graphics that cover your javelin, but I'm not a huge fan of how much they cost, like 880 shards and 6,100 coin? That's ridiculous. These don't have names, so I'm just going to throw them up as I talk about them. First up, we have this one that looks like a phoenix, I suppose. It's got nice coloring, I'll admit, on the sides, very tropical. I like the blue and purple texturing and blending on the torso, the helmet, really all over the suit, and the blending of the red into the orange and the yellow. Not an altogether bad vinyl, but probably not one that I would pick up. Next up, we have this one with an eye, almost like the Eye of Osiris from Destiny on its torso. This is one hands down that I would pick up. I'm a huge fan of parallelism and symmetry between the two sides. I really like the gray and the yellow mixture here. I really just like that eye in the center of it all. Here's another one that I would pick up. It has a nice white and yellow almost vibe to it. I like the lines on it a ton, especially the ones on the helmet. It's a good-looking vinyl altogether. It's a nice-looking wrap. Certainly, those two are two of the better ones in my opinion, but let's keep on moving. If this next one looks familiar to you, it's a black and green wrap from a previous store feature, but it was only up for 2 hours before they took it down. No idea why they did that. It was the first ever wrap technically in the game. If you picked it up, you already have it. You already know what it does. I'll actually throw up one of my javelins that I made with it on it. Not an altogether bad looking vinyl. It's just not one that I would pick up under normal circumstances. Next up, we have a very cool camo wrap. Desert Camo at that. And I would definitely put it on one of the new Ranger armor sets that I'll be showing here in just a minute. You'll know which one it is because it's the only Ranger armor set. Nevertheless, I really like the cyan on it, and I really like the white decal-esque thing on the helmet. Next up, we have this nice orange, creamy orange, white decal. If this looks familiar to you, this is what the freelancers of Freemark wore as they charged into battle against the Dominion. I will absolutely be picking this one up. It looks pretty damn good in my opinion. I especially dig what I'm assuming to either be a lion or a chimera on the hip. The last two are ones that I really don't like. I mean, I like them enough, but not enough to pay that kind of ridiculous cash for them. We've got a mixture of purple, blue, and yellow, and red, and white. This is an okay looking vinyl, not one that I would pick up very likely. Maybe something like this would look decent on the Interceptor, but maybe not so much on the Storm or the Ranger. Not a big fan of it, that's all I'm gonna say. Lastly, we have a red and yellow vinyl that, if this is going to be a wrap, it needs to be covering significantly more of the Javelin. It doesn't cover up enough of it, in my opinion. It just covers the left and right arm, and then a little bit of the left leg and a little bit of the right leg. Not too terribly phenomenal in my opinion. But that's enough about those. Let's actually move on to the armor sets, starting with the worst and moving up to the best. The worst by far is this Colossus, which I don't know what anyone was thinking about when they were designing it. Maybe another Scar-themed armor set? It's not the greatest, it's not the best, and it's not my favorite. It's got these little pouches, it's got padding, it's got covering, and it's got a... I know what I'm gonna call this. I'm gonna call this the cockroach because that's exactly what the helmet reminds me of. It's even got little antennas coming off of it. It's just... I would rate this a hard 3 out of 5, maybe a 2 out of 5. Not a great looking Colossus armor set, but who knows, maybe it'll look somewhat decent when it actually releases and we can fool around with it. Next up, we have one of the 2 armor sets for the Storm that was released. The other one will be coming in a minute in the video, but this one I will show right now. It almost looks like a Fury or a Fury-inspired helmet. Overall, it's not a bad-looking Storm. The seals on the right arm actually have little spikes coming out of them if you'll look closely enough. And at least on the left side, there is some armoring on the shoulder and the arm. Always a big fan when they do something with the other side of the Storm's arm. The torso is pretty average. It's got some cables coming off of it. Very industrial looking. It's an okay armor set. Not my favorite. It's okay. Moving on, we have a Ranger armor set that's the one that I was talking about that would look good with the Desert Camo wrap. It's got an antenna on its back, it's very bulked up, it looks like it has a lot of pouching and a lot of padding, and the helmet is actually a variant of the Mark II Ranger. It's got some sort of mesh on its helmet, cloth physics, very nice looking set overall, very bulky, I like the bulk to it. The right shoulder is different from the left shoulder by a little cloth padding on it, and it's got plenty of pouches. Overall, great looking Javelin, overall, great looking Ranger, probably one of the better Ranger sets we've gotten so far, certainly better than the one prior with the binoculars. But maybe you can make something really cool out of the mixture of the two. Definitely going to be picking up this Ranger armor set though. Moving on to the last 2, which are hands down the best 2 in my opinion, we have a very regal and almost knightly looking Storm. The torso is terrific. It looks like a knight's chest piece along with the legs. I'm liking how the legs are armored, but they're not bulky. It looks like they slapped on some Ranger shin padding and thigh padding, and I like it a lot. The only 2 pieces that I'm not the biggest fan of are the helmet and the arm. Now, while the arm does give something to the right side of the shoulder, it's okay. I will definitely be picking up this Storm armor set and probably mix-mashing it together with another set for the helmet and the arm. Lastly, we have the best armor set that was data mined. It is the Interceptor. And I know a lot of you Interceptor mains are going to be very pleased about this, especially with you all not getting any love the last couple rotations. The helmet is fantastic. The shoulders are great. They are very sleek without looking very bulky, but they are armored, and the torso is an absolute must-have. The legs are okay, I suppose. I would probably be using the Razor legs again because, as it stands right now, they are just the best legs in the game for the Interceptor. I'm very interested to see how the armor set will affect the, I don't know what you all call those, blades on its back. Really liking the Interceptor. Fantastic design overall, and an absolute must-have. But what do you all think of this huge data mine leak? What's your favorite part? The new swords, the new components, of course the new armor, the new vinyls. What would you pick up and why? Please let me know in the comment section below, as I really do read through all of your comments, and I will respond if there is conversational potential, or you just have a badass design in mind. A very special thank you to the Anthem Archive guys for giving us this information. They are the best at what they do, and I will be sure to leave their website in the description below. As always, I hope you fantastic freelancers have a phenomenal day, and I'm looking forward to seeing you all in the next video very soon. Now more than ever, freelancers, remember, we are strong alone, but we are stronger together.